Hello, I'm Sally-Ann Ashley. I'm a UK-based abstract artist, and I also run a course for artists and creatives called Creative Shift. Creative Shift is a 10-week program based on my own creative practice of navigating the shifts in my work. Each time I become stuck in the studio or frustrated, I now have a framework that I can apply each time my work evolves. I've now shared my framework with many artists and witnessed numerous shifts on both the personal and practical level. I hear artists talking about how free they feel in their work, how much more confident they feel, how courageous they are in the studio. So if you're wondering if creative shifts for you this year, I've interviewed some previous course members and asked them to share a little bit about their experience on the course and how it impacted their practice, in the hope that it'll answer some questions that you have. I hope you enjoy the videos. And if you have any questions, please contact me on the links below. Thank you. Today I'm chatting with Anne Arms. Anne was on Creative Shift earlier this year, and I've invited her here today to chat a little bit about her experience on the course and how it impacted her practice. So welcome, Anne. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for asking me to chat to you.
So if we can just start by, if you could tell us a little bit about your creative practice and how long you've been creating for.
Right, I've been creating about 40 years. I started off doing cross-stitch kits for the children when they were small, which morphed into creative embroidery to tea and guilds, which morphed into me teaching, which morphed into me exhibiting various places. I've even exhibited in the Barbican. I'm proud of that one. So I've had some big exhibitions with my textiles, and then life got in the way, and I've got terrible arthritis in my hands. So I decided I needed a new pursuit rather than hand stitching, and I started painting. I started painting in February 2018.
Okay.
And I've been painting since, but I do still do the odd bit of stitching. And because of my City and Guilds, I've always loved sketchbooks. My sketchbooks go back 30 years. So.
Oh, wow. My ears pricked up when you said cross-stitching, because I have fond memories of being a child as well and starting out with cross-stitching.
Yeah, no, I did them samplers when they were born, and, did presents for friends when they moved into a new house. I'd actually stitch their new house on a card. So.
Oh, that's really thoughtful. Okay, so what drew you to Creative Shift this year?
I think I've had a bad year this year health-wise, and I think I'd sort of fallen off the creative bandwagon almost. So, and I was getting bored with what I was doing. It didn't fulfill me enough. And also I'd got this dilemma of which way to go with my painting, to go with my textiles, to go with sketchbooks, to do 3D work. I didn't know where to go. And then I saw Creative Shift and I thought, that's for me.
Okay.
And I was recommended it by someone who'd taken it the year before, who knows me very well, and said it would be a good thing to do.
Ah, perfect. So how did you find the course? What was your experience of it?
Mixed. I'm being honest here, but I found it very, very difficult to begin with. The first week I went in all gung-ho. When I do courses, I tend to work in an A4 concertina sketchbook. And I almost filled one side of a concertina sketchbook with week one. So I dug deeply, and I got myself in a mess by week two, to be honest, and I was faltering. But with the support of you, your team, and the rest of the group, I saw my way through it. I saw that I was rushing at things, and I just needed to calm down and take it at the correct pace, that I was ready for everything that was coming to me, but I mustn't rush at it. I must just let it happen.
Okay.
So, and at the end, in week 10, I had my shift.
Oh, wow.
I saved it to the end, but it was building, as the weeks went on, it was building. But the real shift came in week 10.
Okay.
Which was great.
Would you mind sharing that with us? What happened?
With my textile heritage, really, I've always based my work on those things belonging to my mum or my gran. So I was very textile heritage orientated. And during the course, it makes you reflect really deeply on who you are as a person. And I realised through your guidance and the assignments you set us, they dig deeply, but they dig deeply in a doable way. Sometimes when they ask you to dig deeply, it's a bit, I don't know what word to use, highfalutin, and it gets complicated, and you manage to keep it on the straight and narrow for me. I could understand what I was doing, I could learn from it, and the group was so supportive. And then when we got to week 7, things began to change for me. I realised I was sticking to my comfort zone of what I already knew, and I wasn't taking risks and allowing myself to be who I really am. And that sort of went on. And in week 10, I'm now looking forward, new journey, new inspiration source, new energy. I'm really excited about it. And I'm raring to go. But I feel like I've been given the wings to fly now as me, not looking backwards. And someone said in the course, I don't know, as Karen or Lucy, don't look back. You've got to go forward and don't peep in your wind mirrors, which really resonated with me.
Yeah. So I'm just interested there. You mentioned about week 7, what happened, but was it a particular tool that I'd shared with you, or was it a sort of an accumulation of the weeks? What happened to shift that part?
I think it was just as the modules progressed, you made us stop and think a lot and notice what we liked besides what we were already doing, sort of to look outwards. And I think it was nudges or seeds or something, that these little nudges that come to you, because I've had a lot of nudges and I just keep them in my head. Don't write them down, but I've been nudged to do certain things and I resist it and stay in my comfort zone. But I think week 7 made me realise that the fun and the excitement and the liberation lies in following those nudges.
Okay, amazing. That sounds really exciting. So roughly how many hours per week do you think that you allocated to the course?
I spent an awful lot of time thinking about it, because through the series of questions you gave us, there isn't a quick, easy answer. It's not, do you like the colour blue?
Yeah.
You know, it's digging deeper. So I probably spent 8 hours, maybe, because a lot of it was thinking and sort of, I'm a scribbler, doodler, so scribbling notes and then bringing it all together to write in my journal. And I say I filled this A4 concertina book completely over the course. So.
Wow. Okay.
And some weeks were more than others. You know, some weeks are just listening to yourself and noticing things, whereas others are far more practical.
Yes.
And require more paperwork.
Yeah. Just on that, how did you find the variety of the exercises? Like you said, some weeks were more practical, some weeks were more thoughtful. Did you find the mix was okay? Is it?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. You looked at it from all angles. So instead of focusing on one thing, and it's the way each thing links to the next. That's what I found really interesting about it. You led us on a path and you allowed us to deviate a bit, but through the lessons you brought us back onto this path. But it was all our own individual paths. You weren't telling us where to go.
Yeah, it's I think it was it Lucy that said, Lucy had said it's a really unusual course in that usually when you join a course, you're like given everything that you have to do. You're given all the materials, you're given this, but actually in Creative Shift, it's reversed. And I'm asking you for the information and you have to come up with your own answers for this.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's very much, it's from ourselves, but you prompt us and, well, you nudge us as well as the nudges we have to look out for. You nudge us along. Yeah. So we keep on our path and not get deviated into something that's not truly us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how, because you're not the only person that said like how it builds. And it feels like when I'm kind of analysing it myself, it feels like we start at the very beginning. We have to start with ourselves because we're the creators. So it's like, what's going on with us? And then it kind of moves into your creative practice with your materials and processes, the visual elements you're using, and then it kind of looks at how art meets life and all of those things that our wider creative practice entails. And I think in week 10 is when we start bringing it together, and
it all ties together. See, some weeks, like my own creative practice and the tools and materials I use, I feel I'm quite accomplished with the materials I choose to use. So that week, it was easy to just write down what I love, because I know what I've loved, because I've done it for so long.
Yeah.
I've honed down what it is that really floats my boat. You know, it's just, so that week there wasn't much work at all. So
yeah.
And I don't want 8 hours to put people off, because it's not 8 hours of sat, you know, doing my homework or anything. It's jotting things down. It's sitting with a cup of coffee and reading through the questions again.
Yeah.
It's a slow, it's unlike anything else I've ever taken.
Oh, amazing. Great. Okay, so if there's somebody out there at the moment who's maybe thinking about taking Creative Shift with me next year, what would you say to them?
I've made a few notes of this.
Okay.
If you want to get clarity about what your creative side is all about, I think this course gives you really good clarity. It helps you focus on which way to go. So I now know which of the books, the 3D, the painting, the textiles I'm going on. So I can concentrate on that and not procrastinate and therefore get nothing done. So that's really one. And it helps you understand who you really are as an artist, what you want to say, not political or anything like that, though that's fine. But I know what I want to express in my art about me, and hopefully for people to see that side of me, which I've kept hidden for a long time, if I'm honest. So it was life-changing, completely life-changing. You've changed my outlook on so much, it's incredible.
Oh, so, amazing.
And I've put a blueprint for the future for life, because after the course finished, I took my nudge and my shift and I worked with it. I filled another concertina book with my exercises to do with nurturing and blossoming and things. But that's run its course. So now I'm waiting to the new year, because I've just finished on Louise's course. But in the new year, I'm going to go back through Creative Shift, read the questions, relate them to this new avenue of exploration, because the last one sort of reached a natural close. It's not holding the excitement for me anymore. So now I can go back to all my questions, the words you give us to consider, and I'm going to use it to this new body of work, which I'll start in January. I'll do the research from Creative Shift now, but I can see myself using this in 10 years' time. If I feel I've reached the end of the next project, if I'm still here, you know, it gives you a framework to really think about what you want to express in your work and what message. The message isn't the right things, but I like to have a narrative to my work. So I will find a narrative for whatever the new body of work is.
That's amazing.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think what I loved hearing there was you say, you were going along with your botanical work, your blossom you mentioned, and then you felt that had run its course. So you had the confidence to kind of put the end on that and then think, right, I'm going to go back a few steps, come back to your framework, and where am I going now? And I think it's this thing that I try to promote of artists having a self-guided practice, so that you have the courage to say, no, this isn't working for me anymore. It's run its course and I'm going to hop back over here. And now you can apply the same tools, the same framework to push you off there again. So, that's amazing.
That's probably what's been the life-changing bit for me, because I've been doing my textile heritage probably for 15 years. And it felt so integral to me and so much a part of me that it was telling me to study that. It wasn't my choice. It kept drawing me back. I tried to go off at a tangent and it would draw me back. But through Creative Shift, I've realised that was me staying safe in my comfort zone and not taking the risk to explore other options to really find me, not my history.
Oh man, I'm so pleased for it. It's such a good shift.
It is. It's amazing. I can't tell you. I feel liberated.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'm delighted. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today. That's wonderful to hear. And yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for asking me, because it's lovely to give you some feedback on what it actually meant to me.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. All right, bye.
Bye.